Well, hello on the Rockers. On this week's episode, it's Boys of Reality TV with Netflix Sugar Rush's fan favorite with his own cakes. We have Lio Botello is here, and America's Got Talent's country music sensation, Kameron Ross. And me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
And most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, it's going to be a bumpy night. We already got issues happening here. Buns and bows and pantyhose on the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. Okay, it literally just started to get overcast and cool in LA, which means it was 74 degrees. So I brought out the flannel, I brought out the blankets, I literally had hot chocolate, totally serious. By 3 p.m., I'm a sweaty mess needing a shower. I looked ridiculous. Happy fall. Oh, and I did start listening to holiday music, so yes, I am a middle-aged white woman. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air and on Facebook, On The Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email, book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will be there. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. The show is presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to our now almost 300 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com. You can watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Outlet.tv app, Facebook Watch, streaming with pride on SVTV, and we are on Channel 31 on the East Coast 4 times a week, by the way. Woo! Share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave your phone number. I'm single. If you notice crumbs on me, Urban Plates literally just bought us 6 meals for my 2 people here in the studio, and we ate them all. So good. And for people that don't know Urban Plates, it's chef-driven, fast casual restaurant brand offering. All the food is from scratch. It's at a good price, and it's all healthy and low-cal. And you're looking at me like, what? I hate low-cal healthy food. Like, I just can't stand it. This was actually good. I had a low-cal plate of chicken tenders, and there's desserts and everything. They've also given to the community with programs like Nourishing Heroes, but above all, their mission is to make wholesome food affordable, widely acceptable. And so for this month, they're doing something called Plate Pass, which is kind of their like little fast pass. And so you get all of the entrees for like $10 or less, and they have over 30 entrees. So sign up for that. Go to urbanplates.com. And the food was so good, and I still see some left over here that I'm going to nibble. The show is brought to you by Fandaddies.com, bringing you high fives and good vibes with their premium clacking fans with a variety of sassy sayings and pop culture patterns. Check out all of their unique designs created by their talented LGBTQ plus artists. They even have video game and Star Trek motifs. Use code FIRST15 to save 15% off of your first order at Fandaddies.com. They also do custom fans, so if you've always wanted to design a fan or have one made for your business, go to Fandaddies.com. Okay, let's get this show on the road. I need a sip. If you're drinking at home, have a sip with me. Perfect. But if you're sober, God love you. I need a ride home. Okay. Lio Botello was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. His love for Texas and his family and friends has kept him very close. He moved to Dallas in 2018, and that is when he and his now ex-business partner started an at-home bakery business together. And late one night, while binge-watching HBO's Big Little Lies, because that's what all the gays do, he received an invitation. Somebody slid through his DMs with an offer to appear on one of his favorite new shows, Netflix's Sugar Rush. He and his business partner wowed the judges, winning 2 out of the 3 rounds in the competition, literally just coming shy of winning the grand prize. And that's where Lio's famous Fruity Pebble tacos were born. Nom, nom, nom. Though they didn't win the $10,000 grand prize, he and his teammate literally won the hearts of the nation, becoming instant fan favorite all over the world. The show was released in over 138 countries. Love started to pour in, and a special invitation from Miss Kelly Clarkson to appear on her show. Lio is now on his own as the Krafty Kween, serving his sweet treats to customers all over Dallas, Fort Worth area. but also these custom design items that he ships all over the country. And if that wasn't enough, he helps manage his life partner, LGBT country music star, and happens to be our second guest today, Mr. Kameron Ross. Lio will make his Palm Springs debut on October 15th for an interactive happy hour and decorating hour. Go to boucher.com for tickets, and it's hosted by me. That's going to be fun because it's booze, cakes, and cakes, if you know what I mean. And they're all my favorite things, so I cannot wait. Please welcome Lio Botello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I love your last little joke there about cakes and cakes.
Cakes and cakes. Nobody believes because my voice is so high that I'm not like a cake fan, girl. If you know what I mean. I'm a cake fan, 100% cake fan. Now, were you interested in baking as a kid, or what was your relationship to the kitchen before you started learning it like professionally?
I really was not. When it came to cooking or being in the kitchen before, I did the bare minimum, just what I had to do in order to be able to have a meal to eat at the end of it and have it be tolerable and for me to be able to eat it. But yeah, it was kind of just I kind of just got thrown into it with my ex and ex-business partner, and so slowly kind of started to pick up on. I've always just been a creative person, and so learning and seeing that you can create beautiful things with food as well, not just with painting something, or that's usually the kind of stuff that I did before, really interested me. So I kind of started to pick up things slowly and took more and more of an interest in it.
Now, tell me what it was like growing up as a Latino kid in your area of Texas. I grew up Latino in Southern California. I've heard that the two are two totally distinctive kind of experiences. Could you kind of share a little bit about your heritage in the Texas area?
Yeah. So I grew up in the north side of Fort Worth, Texas. It's about 40 minutes from where I live here in Dallas. And it was going to school there was a little bit rough. The kid, like a lot of the Hispanic and Mexican children are like raised and you're supposed to be this like macho like boy. And I was always smaller than everybody. I'm only 5'3" now as a full grown man. And as a child, I was itty bitty. I was always probably 2 grades smaller than all of the boys in my grade. So not only was I smaller, I had a really feminine voice. I liked playing with the girls. I liked, like, if we were dividing ourselves into teams and they wanted to separate boys and girls, that was my least favorite time of school. Like so I got picked on a lot. It was a little tough, but I think as it does with a lot of gay men, I think it created some sassiness and some quick wit that I had to quickly adapt and learn kind of on my own over the years. So.
Well, and isn't it funny the things as gay children that we are so, ashamed of, like being small. Now everybody comments on your sexy pics because, you're so compact and body wise, and it's like, oh, yeah, he's the perfect size. He's a pocket gay. Can't ride any roller coasters, but still, you're like the gay man's dream. And then our sassiness, like in today's culture, our sassiness is honored, I think, in media and, in society now. And so some of the things that we were ashamed of now empower us. I was always ashamed of my loud voice all the time. And, now it's my living.
Oh, for sure. I totally relate to that. It's really crazy how far things have come. I know we still have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of a lot more movement that needs to happen, but it's really crazy to see the entertainment industry embracing feminine gay men, and seeing that you don't have to be some like mask bro in order to make it, or for people to appreciate you or appreciate what it is that you have to say or what it is that you're doing. So yeah, that's always a nice thing.
And what I love, which was interesting to me when the whole idea of like non-binary and gender fluid first came out, I was like, what? Do we need another letter in our alphabet? Like we need, another X, right? But I didn't understand this new kind of generation and this new way of identifying. And it's like, well, no, that's kind of what I've been living. I'm not super macho at all, but do I have, can I have what's considered macho traits at times? Yes. And I'm, feminine mannerisms or whatever, but I'm not like, you know, wearing like a tutu like in the street. Not there's anything wrong with that, but there's like this middle ground that I think if we had this kind of middle way to identify, I think we would have a better time of it. Now, Lio, how did that kind of masculine versus feminine, how did that kind of play with your mind, and how did it play with your relationship with your family growing up? Because we know how tight Latino families can be.
Yeah. So growing up, I guess, with my family, around my mom, I think I've always been super, super comfortable. My mom is the kind of mom that I wish everybody had. She was always super sweet about it. Wanted to make sure that I didn't feel like that was wrong. I know that she noticed it at a very young age. She noticed it. I had a brother that I was 11 months apart from, and my sister was 2 years younger than me. But I always, as soon as she was old enough to start playing with me, I gravitated towards kind of playing with the things that she liked to play with. And not necessarily because she was a female and I wanted to hang out with her, but she had like these like cool like toys, like Barbies with like hair and things that we could dress, was a lot more fun to me than some of the stuff that I was already playing with. And she never made me feel bad about that. With my dad, it was a little different. He struggled with it a little bit more. He was kind of a traditional like Mexican like man, and really there's super simple things like playing a video game. If I picked a female character, like that bothered him, and it was something that now as an adult I think back on it, I'm like, why did you care? Like, why did you care what character I was playing? Why did you care if I wanted to be Princess Peach every single time? But I kind of learned to just work with it until I got old enough to really understand who it was that I was, and then kind of put it on the table, offer it, and if you loved it and still loved me, then great, and if not, then we can learn to live with that.
What's always confused me is when people are so adamant against somebody else, what they're doing, what they identify as. Why are other people so threatened to such a point of violence and extreme anger? It comes back to them. It's like, hey, I'm fine with it. You obviously are not fine with it. You're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff on your own that. Now let's talk about getting into the baking industry. I know it was in part because of your ex, and let's just refer to him as X squared, because ex-business partner, but actually ex-boyfriend as well. So it was because of X squared that you kind of got into professional baking?
Yeah, it was. So when he moved to Texas, so we met on Instagram.
Why did you laugh when you say that? Was it really Instagram, or did it start with a G?
I feel so silly to say it. We met on Instagram, and he ended up moving here to Texas. And when he got here, slowly he had gone to school for that, so slowly these opportunities kept coming up for him to bake outside of what he was doing professionally, which was working at a hotel here in Dallas. And so the more and more his work was being brought to home, I was around it a lot more often. And at first it was just kind of cleaning up after him and making sure that the kitchen wasn't destroyed by the end of it, which it often was. But I slowly started to try to help him with kind of being able to hone in on what it is that he was trying to do as far as staying organized with it, or making sure that he kept on task with what he was trying to do in a timely manner. And so that kind of forced me to be around the actual baking side of it more often, because I was watching so closely. And yeah, I started to really enjoy it. I wasn't even a sweets person really before that. And the more and more I was around it, I started really enjoying it. And was sort of more helping him out with getting our orders done after we kind of started our business that we started together. And so yeah, it kind of just happened naturally over time.
Now, what aspects of professional baking came easy to you once you started to get into it? What were some of the easiest things you're like, oh, I can master that in a heartbeat. This is something I really respond to.
none of it was really easy. I kind of, since I was teaching myself, so there we had, the way we broke down the business, we had different kind of responsibilities. And so when I decided that I wanted to run business differently and started doing things on my own, there were a lot of things that I hadn't necessarily done before. And since we kind of decided to do separate our businesses the way that we did and do it individually, I had to teach myself a lot of these things. I was lucky enough that I had one of my competitors from Sugar Rush, Amy, that uh, was always willing to help with any questions that I had or any silly questions that I felt like I had because of how long I had been involved in it, but hadn't been doing certain aspects of it. So it was really nice to kind of have a mentor like that that had been in the business for as long as she has. She has two bakeries, and so it was really great to have somebody to learn from like that. But yeah, it was I didn't really find any of it super easy. I find the business side of it easy. I find the customer service part of it really easy. And kind of just managing that side of it, that all comes naturally to me, and it always has, in the marketing aspect of it. But yeah, actually kind of learning all of the baking was a little difficult. Decorating stuff is what I love to do. I love little intricate details. I love drawing faces on cake pops, something that most people hate. My ex actually hated that, hated doing that kind of stuff. But those are all the things that I really enjoy. I love to sit at my island and work on an elaborate set of cake pops all day if I can.
Do you think because it's like your quiet, isolated time where you can not only focus on your craft, but it's kind of like a meditation almost?
It really is. It's a peaceful kind of one-on-one time for me, and I'm very lucky that while I'm doing that, usually my partner Cameron is kind of making everything else disappear. Like, so I'll finish and kind of be like in the zone and then stop and look around and realize there's no dishes or anything that I have to do. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much for doing that. Because I was doing everything I was doing and focusing on it, thinking that I still had to do that. So I'm relieved that, that I'm done after doing that.
You know what? They just make you guys different in Texas. That's all I got to say. Like, we need more of that in LA. Let me tell you, that would not be the case. That would not be the case here. Okay, so you're watching Big Little Lies, and then your grinder goes off. I mean, your DMs went off, and it was Netflix saying, "Hey, girl, hey, come be on one of your favorite new shows."
Yeah, so it was the company that had been hired to produce the show, and it was their casting, one of their casting directors that had actually reached out, DM'd us, asked if we'd be interested in doing it. There was a brief discussion on whether we felt it was legit or not. I was like, well, what information is going to be on this application they're about to send? Like, they're going to ask for our social or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more and more we looked into it, we realized that it was real. And so we started the very long process to be casted for the show.
You know, it's funny. It's not like being on a singing show or a dancing show where you can show a video or record the performance. Baking is really not just how pretty it looks. I've actually paid for professional cakes that don't taste the best. So, what's the audition process like to finally make it on a show like Sugar Rush? Did you have to send them samples, or was it all done video? Did you have to fly in and cook them something? Like, what was that process like?
It was all done over video. They can't taste people's, people's desserts or people's
What if
treats.
you showed up and it tastes like boo boo? Like,
That could have happened if I wasn't part of my team, but it they put you through a series of Zoom kind of interviews, and they have us. They had us make things, have them with us on the Zoom, provide as many photos of all of the things you could possibly imagine that they wanted us to be able to kind of say that we could do or would do. And yeah, it was just it was a lot of I feel like the bigger part of being casted for it was personality, because we probably talked about the actual baking and what we could or would do maybe 30%, and the other 70% was them just asking us questions and wanting us to talk on camera, wanting to see how we interacted. I think the idea that we were a couple at the time was probably really interesting to them, because as of the first season of the show, that was something that they had. I think they had one team that had 2 gay men on it, but a couple being on there was not something that they had really done with a gay couple. So they seemed really interested in that aspect. So they kind of played on that a lot, and I think they wanted to make sure that we weren't like this like perfect couple that and they wouldn't get any like bickering on camera. So that definitely seems like it played into some of it.
Well, this actually, that's such a good segue, Leo. This actually brings us to our Lio Botello hot topic. Tony, take it away. It's time for Hot Topics on the Rocks with Alexander. Better pour yourself another.
This is hot. That's hot. That's hot. This is really hot. That's hot. That's hot.
So hot. Okay, here's our hot topic. As part of Netflix's Sugar Rush, you and your business partner gained the moniker the Gay Bakers of Sugar Rush. All the interviews you did had that lead in, or it was part of the title, Gay Bakers of Sugar Rush. The interviews, the TV interviews, the articles I read. Yay, gay representation. But here's the hot topic. Should we as the gay community embrace that label being put everywhere, or should we be challenging casting people and media to drop the gay label in order to present a fully realized people? Are we being used just to fulfill a token diversity or sell a hot headline? That's our hot topic, Leo.
I love it. I definitely feel like there's some tokenship to a lot of the casting that's happening right now. I mean, it's almost like a simple formula that they feel like they're trying to follow for every single show, and it's happening all over the place. I mean, on all reality TV, I do feel like they want to just enough gay, but not too much of it. Mm-hmm. And that's where it kind of seems like it becomes problematic, or at least in my opinion. So while I appreciate that that could have played into some of on our season, the episode of Sugar Rush, we had the least experience of anybody that was there. When we got in the casting van, when the casting people picked us up from LAX, they actually got all 4 teams all at the same time. How they arranged everybody arriving from all over the country at the same time.
It's been a nightmare.
I have no idea. There's a wizard working their travel. But we all rode together to the hotel and started kind of exchanging our resumes and talking about how long everybody had been in the business. And so realizing that all the teams probably had about 20 plus years experience. And I had been helping out for about 6 months at the time. And I mean, these other teams had 20 plus years experience. My ex was 22 at the time, and it had just started doing it professionally, probably for about a year and a half. I think we probably fibbed a little bit on our application. And
everybody fibs on those reality TV. According to my reality TV auditions, I'm 25.
But that did kind of shed some light on the fact that I feel like us being a gay couple probably played into that a little bit more in the beginning. It wasn't until we were there that we, kind of wowed them with the desserts that we were making. I don't think the other competition really took us as seriously either in the beginning. So when we won the first round, then won the second round, and then barely lost the third round, I think everybody was pleasantly surprised. I'm sure the casting producers were super ecstatic that this gay couple that they gambled on with very little experience actually did really, really well. And since people liked us as much as they did. I'm sure they enjoyed that.
Well, and see, to me, that headline is really interesting. It's like the underdogs compete and make a name for themselves with these people that have had years of experience. Like, that's what the headline should be, not gay baker. It's like, okay, does gay make the cake taste better? I mean, like, what's the deal? But then here's the flip side for somebody that's also in gay entertainment. If I need to send out a press release, we know that the gay outlets are going to take us up and they're going to write a story about us because we're part of the gay community. So it's that flip side. It's like, yes, we want to challenge the media and we want to challenge people to not just label. They don't say, oh, the straight bakers from Sugar Rush, But on the flip side, I think we're still gaining our identity. So it really is a difficult issue because I hate being just labeled so quickly, but I hate that label with anything,
One of the funny things that happened after all of that, like as great as the Kelly Clarkson experience was, something that I don't really talk about often was our segment got cut dramatically because we weren't willing to just be these over the top gay, like just a gay caricature is basically what they wanted. When we heard from the Kelly Clarkson show, it was the angle that they wanted to take with having us as a guest was that we were a gay bakery that wanted to make everybody feel like they could order their wedding cake from us and not be turned away from a bakery like some headlines had made. So I was actually excited about that. And then we started working with the kind of story producer that was putting together our segment, and they wanted us to show off our work. And so we were like, oh, that's great. We can tell you how many items do you want us to do? They were going to fly us out, give us a commercial kitchen. So we started brainstorming on what style desserts we wanted to do or what style cakes we wanted to showcase. And then very quickly they kind of axed every idea and said, well, why don't you make this a rainbow that and make that a rainbow this and make that one rainbow. And then for the Kelly Clarkson cake you wanted to make that all rainbow and make it just multi-tier. I was like, we don't do just rainbow cakes though. And we're not just a gay bakery. We're a bakery. And if somebody wants a rainbow cake, that's great, but that's not all we do. And so with this opportunity that you guys are giving us, we want to make sure that people know everything that we can do. That's why we very carefully came up with this list of things that we can do to make sure that we're showcasing all styles of the desserts that we do. And we went back and forth with them a little bit, and then we were told that we'd get a call back. And then once we got the call back, they presented it in the best way that they could, that it was good news for us, that we were just going to do the tacos, and instead of a 15-minute segment, it was going to be about 5 minutes, but that was good because it was going to be really busy and really we were going to have a high energy segment is the way that it was pitched to us. So we kind of had to step back and think about if we wanted to move forward with it, and we did at the end of it, and it was a blast. I had a blast. Kelly herself was amazing. She was super, super sweet. We connected on the fact that we were both born in the same hospital in Fort Worth. She was super sweet. It was a fun time. She was chaotic, just like you see every single day on the million shows that she's doing now. But yeah, it didn't go as we had originally thought. So
I just have to tell you, as often as we've talked, I have never heard that part of the story, and so I'm really glad and thankful that you shared that, because people should know that that's actually what's happening. I understand from a producer's point of view of like, yeah, let's have rainbow, and but like you said, that's just one small section of what you do. I hate when people say, oh yeah, you have that gay podcast. It's like, well, no, we interview everybody under the sun. I happen to be a gay man, but I could, interview whoever you put in front of me. That's part of what my job is. It's not the gay podcast. And this is kind of the stigma that we have to fight. And in Hollywood's wanting to just pigeonhole us really fast and sell us as a quick product. And I have to tell you, rainbow stuff is not the big sell that it was. It's because people are realizing that we're more nuanced than just a rainbow. That says nothing to skill, ability, talent, emotion, passion. That's just a symbol that we've happened to use that I think that we are evolving from.
Yeah, and I felt really bad for my ex-business partner, because at that time he was creating most of what we were doing, and he had really beautiful work, and we had really beautiful things that we wanted to showcase. And so to have all of those ideas axed, even with like samples of what we were going to do, it was really disappointing. And so it was almost like, if you're not going to do rainbows, then your budget's getting cut from, we can't do a commercial kitchen. You're only coming for the one day instead of 2 days before, so that you guys can bake all of these things. And I feel like they honed in on the simple dessert that we could, the faster dessert that we could do without a kitchen.
Right.
Was the Fruity Pebble tacos. And so we got to make those on air with Kelly, with everything kind of pre-made for us. Even they didn't even let us, we didn't even get to make it. We had to submit our recipes, and they made it for us ahead of time, so that we could just join her on stage and use everything that was out there.
Well, I give you kudos, because that really is a business choice. You know, you could have done what they wanted, and, you know, you risked not even being on the show, which would have not given, visibility to your business. So that was a tough decision, because you sticking by what you want to present to the world probably affected your pocketbook. And so hats off to you. And I'm glad that we heard this story.
Yeah, it was a tough decision to make for both of us. I think after that phone call, we kind of both had to come to an agreement, like, if we put our foot down, we know that this could go away altogether.
Yeah.
And we just have to, are we both sure? And so we decided that we didn't want to do that. So we let them know that we didn't feel comfortable with it, that it wasn't what we would like to do and what we thought was right, or what we thought was representative of who we were. And so, yeah, we let them know, and we got cut, but it was still an amazing experience. And we still got showcased to the entire country again, very shortly after just having all the Sugar Rush stuff happening. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, good. All right. That was our hot topic with Lio, and we got more than we bargained for. Thank you so much. Okay, I want to talk about the reality of reality TV and the reality of coming off of a competition show like that. You know, from the outside public, you see you quickly became a fan favorite. You know, your social media increases, you get a lot of press. But then there's the reality that the show's over. And there's the reality, it's like that doesn't necessarily mean that you're this huge successful baker with customers all over the world. What is some of the reality as to the kind of environment that you had after coming off of the show, being a professional baker?
I think people think that it happens, that things kind of get handed to you just super easily or a lot faster, or that it's not hard work to keep up with what does happen immediately afterwards. I mean, right after Sugar Rush aired, we were getting clients driving from like out of state to come and have things like the Fruity Pebble tacos, or the cupcake, the melted ice cream cupcake that we did on the show. And it was hard to keep up there for a little while. We were trying to keep up with everybody. We would have people that would get upset that we couldn't take like an order the day of. The reality of it is that we were still just two at-home bakers, baking out of our apartment in downtown Dallas. Like, so it was, people wanted to have access to us, wanted it when they wanted it, and as soon as they wanted it. And yeah, we would have people messaging us at all hours, like trying to just want to show up and buy something right then and there, or get a picture with us right then and there, because they drove to the area and just thought that we had a storefront or something that they could walk in. And yeah, I think I think a lot of people thought that that being on the show kind of just changes all of that, and we would just have access to a lot more, because we did say on the show that we were an at-home bakery. But yeah, that stuff kind of all takes time.
Well, and money, it's not like you're on a reality show and they give you $1 million to go home with and to build a staff and all that. That's not what's happening. Even like for some of the Drag Race girls that we talked to, they said, you don't understand. You don't get cast on the show and then somebody builds your wardrobe or your makeup or whatnot. Sometimes you have to make it look rich without that kind of money behind it. I want to take a peek at a video that we have. Here's you decorating a cake. And apparently this was made under like some stress here because there was a big Texan, uh, like like a big. It says like supplies were short and deliveries were canceled because you were going through a storm and you're having to make this cake.
Yeah, so people don't cancel their parties because there's an ice storm, apparently, is what I learned. I realized very quickly how hard it was to get a hold of a lot of the ingredients that I needed in order to do some of my cakes. And so there was the storm had come through, and we very quickly realized that I had to go to probably four or five stores in order to get everything that I needed for the orders that I had that week. It was a little crazy. Nothing that I had ever experienced. I don't think anybody in Texas had experienced what we went through back then. But I got through it. It was okay at the end of the day.
Well, and I love here that we get to see, all of the process that goes into it. And, it's really time consuming. And then to have that pressure on you, that's the life of a baker. And for what I've heard from the industry, even selling a cake doesn't necessarily mean that you made money off of that cake. By the time you put all the hours of labor and you buy the supplies and everything, at the end of the day, who knows if you're even breaking even?
Yeah, there's sometimes where there might be something specific that somebody's asking for, and I may not have all the things that I would need in order to make that particular order already in stock. So if I have to go and buy extra supplies, there are some times where it's just I made just enough in order to cover the cost of that order, and that's it. And you just kind of have to know that you have those tools now to go forward with, and the supplies to make the next one once it comes. But yeah, there's very specific things that people ask for sometimes. Kameron makes fun of me all the time because I'm like, all right, I got to buy these molds, but once I have them, I'm going to have them now, and I won't have to buy them again. But then it's like the next order, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to buy these molds now. So yeah, it's a lot of fun though. I love every bit of it, especially things like that, like things that are very particular to that order and that make that one super, super special. Those are my favorite. So even if it means that I'm not going to make a bunch of extra money on that one, then I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it as long as that one is special and that person told me something very specific that they wanted and it's special for whatever reason to the person they're giving it to. That's probably my favorite thing ever. So
now, Lio, are you playing music while you're making this, or do you need complete silence? Do you have to have 4 cups of coffee before? Like, what's your kind of baking ritual?
I usually have some music playing. Believe it or not, country music really relaxes.
Oh, I believe it. It's in your house.
Yeah,
you better.
So it's people. I've had people think that they see us at like these like parties, and so they think that our life is like circuit music or just this or that. And I'm like, no, I like country music was something I listened to before I even met Kameron. So meeting Kameron first and then realizing he's in country music after, that was just a bonus. But yeah, I usually have some like country music playing and kind of just take my time with it. It's my favorite when I have plenty of time to get it done because I like to work slowly. I don't like to work rushed.
Yeah.
I don't like to work sugar rushed.
But you did so well.
We did. We had to make a cake. When I sit and think about how much time it can take to do some of the stuff that we do and know that you get 3 hours for the cake round on that show, I'm like, that is madness. How we got a 3-tier cake and my disgusting unicorn that I hated.
That was a hate crime, Lio.
It was so awful. It was so bad. It was really bad. It was hypothetically, let's say that I was told that I could not make my own Rice Krispie for the show. Had to like work with this like existing Rice Krispie that was there, and it was hard as hell to
Yeah.
work with. So that unicorn was rough looking.
Well, I have to tell you, I can't even make toast. I can't even make a bowl of cereal. But I watch every single baking show. I'm watching the Halloween Baking Champion. I watch Halloween Wars, and it always astounds me what people are able to put together. And then it always astounds me when things go wrong. So here's a little behind the scenes, and Leo, you can speak to this as well because not only do I do a lot of research, I have a lot of friends who work in reality TV. Often the producers will recalibrate some of the ovens. They'll change the heat in the actual cooking room. The heat from the cameras and the lights will play with some of the recipes that if somebody says, oh, I know this recipe backwards and forwards, what they'll do, oh, yeah, what they could have done a recipe, but things and elements are changed within the studio to really challenge the bakers. So certain things that could have worked in a normal kitchen do not work on a kitchen in real life or on the show because that adds to the drama and it adds to sometimes not the best creations.
Netflix had to sign a contract that was probably about this thick, and one of the things in there is not to talk about the inner workings of the show.
I can.
So yeah, what you're saying all sounds great.
But it is funny in such a short show and watching people, not necessarily in a reality show like we watch like The Housewives or Real World, but we watch people's personality come out through the baking, how they deal with the host, how they present their product. You know, you really do become close to these people. And I think why you became such a fan favorite is because you were the underdog. And I think people felt like they could associate with you and they were rooting for you because we got to see real personality. We know real personality has a natural chemistry, and some reality TV folks just don't have it. So I definitely think that's part of your benefit. We are going to be bringing on Kameron Ross in just a moment, but I want to talk to you, and we're going to get a little deep and heavy here. And if you don't want to talk about it, that's totally fine. You know, through COVID, we all kind of rediscovered who we are. We kind of got to focus, or had to focus by lockdown, as to what direction we wanted to take in life. And I know it challenged people individually, and it certainly challenged relationships. I want you to talk about, if you feel comfortable, with knowing when it's time to say, okay, you know, even though I might have a business with somebody or I might have this kind of lifestyle evolved, how you get the confidence and when you kind of know when it's time to just say, all this is great, but it's time to move on. It's time to grow on my own, because you've established your own individual brand, the Krafty Kween, with a K in both, by the way. So if you can kind of talk me through that transition and what kind of sparked that confidence.
Yeah. So another thing that that doesn't get talked about very often, we had a lot going on. There was a lot going on at the time. We'd been approached by a production company and we're filming a pilot or a sizzle for a show that was just about the two of us. And
That's rough, by the way.
Already at that point, we're not doing well at all. It was just, at some point, I think, every person reaches like a point where you stop, pause, think to yourself, or at least I did, and that was why I finally pulled the trigger and think, you can't keep kind of betting on tomorrow being better, or you know, a few months from now being better, or even if this TV show for us happened, like, would it be better, or would I just have to be, you know, pretending even more than I was pretending at that point. There was many times that I asked myself that and I wasn't sure. And then one day I woke up and it clicked. Like, no, like it's the good times or the bad times are outweighing the good times at this point. And it doesn't matter that we've been handed all of this and that we're not been handed all of this, but that we kind of worked for everything that we had. It just wasn't, it was starting to affect us business wise, and I was not happy with what we were doing business wise. And so I had to cut ties with it and just kind of have faith that people would continue to embrace me, even if I disconnected from the brand that we had built together. The brand that the bakery that we talked about on the show was Sugar Daddy's. It was like catchy name. It was something that my ex had talked to me about. I had the logo for it commissioned, kind of got the boost started for the for getting the website going and all of that stuff, and grew us to what we were. And so when we kind of separated ways, I feel bad saying it right now, but thinking about our business was a big like part of me deciding if I was ready to like cut the relationship. And yeah, no matter how big the business was or what it was going to be doing, we were always going to be tied together doing it. So I kind of had to take a leap of faith, create my own brand, and just have faith in the fact that I built that brand and I can build another one. It's something that comes naturally to me. That's something that I love marketing. I love, just creating an online kind of image for whether it's a person, a business, whatever it may be. That's just something that I've always loved doing. Social media is a lot of fun to me. Some people think that it's silly. When I have dinner with my family, if I'm on my phone at all, I get told, put your phone away.
It's like, it's work.
This stuff is important. It really is. Like, there's certain parts of social media or things that you have to kind of get to really quickly. And so yeah, but yeah, I think it clicks for people at different points, and you just know yourself. It's a thing that it doesn't matter how many of your friends are bad mouthing the person or what awful thing they might have done. It's just something that you realize yourself, and yeah, it becomes really clear.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. I've been in kind of instances like that where you're on the verge of could be the next big thing, and you keep waiting for that next big thing to solve all your problems. It's like when couples having problems decide to have a kid, and it could temporarily bring some success or something, but ultimately it's just not a wise choice, and it is hard to have that confidence. It's hard to be that adult and say, no matter what's ahead, like I have to be who I am, and I have to honor what I need from life. And so thank you for sharing that. Those are all difficult choices that we have to make almost every day of our lives. And look what's happened. The Krafty Kween is big and strong. All right, we are going to welcome your partner and our next guest, Mr. Kameron Ross from America's Got Talent. But first, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor, Mr. Fan Daddies. When we come back, we're talking to them both. We are going to get real.
Oh.
This is Alexander from On the Rocks, where celebrities and cocktails mix. Here to chat about fandaddies.com. High fives and good vibes is your go-to site to get the hottest accessory for 2021. Yes, the fabulous clacking fan with designs that are totally fetch. And you may think that fetch can't happen, but it totally can. They call me Fetch Betch. Now here are the top uses for your Fandaddies fan. To look fabulous. You can spill the tea and tell secrets, but fancy-like. It is also the perfect punctuation for reclaiming your time. I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
But I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
And it can also cover that vodka breath. Oh, it's mouthwash, I swear. And last but not least, it makes you look fabulous. So fabulous you have to say it twice. So go to fandaddies.com and get the fan for that best suits your image. Until we can clack our way through festivals, prides, and events, it's the perfect accessory to spruce up your Instagram selfies or send as a gift. So extra. Support small businesses at fandaddies.com. All right, fandaddies.com. So we are bringing back Kameron Ross to the show. Palm Springs, I am coming for you. Join me for an evening with America's Got Talent's Kameron Ross. It's a live performance. It's an on-stage interview hosted by me. It's a fan Q&A and much more. Thursday, October 14th, 7 p.m. Go to oscarspalmsprings.com. Get your tickets today. It is such a fun venue. It's going to be such a great night. We're really forming something special. So fly in, come see it, and Oscars is such a great venue. But please welcome back to the show, Kameron Ross. He started his country music journey at the age of 8 when his parents took him to his first concert to see my queen, Shania Twain, at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. The experience changed his entire life, and he walked away knowing that this was what he was meant to do with his life. He soon began singing at local country music concerts, allowed budding artists the chance to make a name for themselves. And in 2006, he put out an album produced by T.J. Shepard and Kelly Lang called When I'm Done Loving You. But he wasn't done loving the music scene, because in 2010, he played at a Day in the Country Music Fest in Houston, opening for the band Perry, Miranda Lambert, and many other artists. And around that same time, he started to discover a little bit more about himself, including his sexuality. Kind of came out, and there happened to be a loss of interest from people that were booking him for all these years. So he reemerged in the summer of 2020, appeared on season 15 of NBC's America's Got Talent. He wowed the judges. Howie Mandel said he loved Cameron's amazing voice and relaxed delivery. Sofia Vergara said, blah, 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 blah. Couldn't understand what she was saying, so that's what she said. Simon Cowell loved his performance so much, he actually stopped Simon in a viral video, and it's like, holy crap, what do you do when Simon Cowell tells you to stop singing? He had Cameron sing a cappella, and then he won over all of their hearts. Today, Cameron is busy performing everywhere, releasing new music, now streaming, including remixes of his hits. Please welcome back to the show, Cameron Ross. Is he?
He's muted.
There we go. No,
There we go.
there you are. Okay, now we still have Lio here, your partner. Now, nobody start doing rumors. They're not in the same room on purpose, so we don't get feedback. You know, everything's fine. Everybody, calm down. Now, I love this story, but I want our listeners to hear from you guys how you two met. How did it get to the first official date?
Oh, goodness. So we had met, is it 2 years now? Our good friend Leo had been baking for a friend of ours and knew a friend of ours, Justin Johnson, Alyssa Edwards. And so he had known her for some time, and I'd known her for a few years. And Alyssa, anybody who knows Alyssa throws some of the best parties for just everything. And so Alyssa had threw a Labor Day party and invited me. And, you know, I had met Leo during the party, and, you know, at that moment, we didn't talk too much. But then shortly after that, myself and Alyssa and a few of our friends were out on the town. You know, Dallas, we have one of the best night scenes here in Texas. And so we were out on the town at S4, and, you know, she made the introduction, and kind of from there, we just hit it off, and one thing led to another. That next night, I think I texted him, was very persistent about us meeting up. And so that next night, I came over and watched him do laundry and just chatted until, you know.
I refused to hang out. I was in a very not social mood that day, and was like, I'm not going anywhere. I really, like, I'm doing my laundry. I want to be home, yada, yada, yada. And he was insistent on hanging out. I was like, fine, if you want to come over, I'm doing my laundry. You can sit and talk to me while I do my laundry. And so he did that and was completely content coming over and chatting with me for 4 hours, I think, is what it ended up being.
Chatting. Mm-hmm.
We did. That really was it.
Really?
I'm just teasing. Do you know what I love about this kind of first date story? And I keep telling my friends this, that go on first date after first date and nothing happens. Do on your first date what you would do in normal life. If you want to go eat at Panda Express and then, you know, and that's all you want to do, then do that on your first date. Being like this kind of fake person, or going to a restaurant that you don't normally eat at, dressing a certain way that you don't normally dress, if that's not you, don't do that, because that's not who you're going to be dating third, fourth date. And it sounds like you guys kind of like, okay, this is going to be how we're going to be casual. You know, this is how we live our life. So let's do laundry. I mean, that's the most boring thing you could do. If you guys can do laundry together, then you guys can pretty much do anything together.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think at that point, after dating for a little bit, I liked keeping things super casual like that. Like, it's just, I don't know. I didn't mind the company, but I didn't necessarily. I was in that mindset that I know a lot of people say that they're in, where you're not like looking for something to happen or not trying to force a relationship, and so that kind of happened naturally, I guess. Like we ran into each other a couple of times. He seemed interested in hanging out, so I was like, I'm not gonna like block this, but I'm also not gonna like. I had plans to stay home and I was going to do my laundry today. So I'm fine if he wants to join that, but I'm not going to change that. It was kind of like what it was. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I'm glad he joined me.
Okay, who made the first move for the first kiss?
Oh, this is a story.
Okay, I'm ready.
Like, I thought I thought it was me for the longest time. And I told everybody like that it was me that made the first move. And I mean, I don't know. Leo could probably tell the story a little bit better than I could, but we were on the dance floor. I had a little bit to drink, so my recollection of the story is a little bit different than what I remembered it to be.
This sounds like a country music song, I just have to tell you. Balls on the dance floor.
Yeah, we were on the dance floor. Go ahead.
He's taking a sip. He's like, you ready for this? Leo, what really happened that night? Tell us.
I went up to say hi to him and Justin. Or say hi to Justin. Justin, at that point, I thought he was a little stuck up, actually, because at the party, at the Labor Day party, he had said hello to me, but then didn't like really give me very much attention, even though
maybe he couldn't see you because he couldn't see you. Ha ha. Okay.
But I saw him kind of check me out, but then make sure to like not make eye contact and I was like, okay, fine.
Oh, honey, he wasn't looking at your eyes. I can tell you that now. Krafty Kween with those cakes.
So when I saw him out that night, I didn't think I was going to get the attention from him that I was getting. And so I said hi to him and Justin and then kind of made my way to go and meet up with my friends. Well, I'm usually super observant of like what's happening. Well, he walked into the club. We were at S4 here in Dallas. He walked into the club, took a step away from his friends, like moved all the way away and was looking around, and me being full of myself, I was sure that he was looking for me, like trying to figure out where I want. And he was searching like very low, because you don't have to look high for me, but looking very low around the entire club. So I decided, I'm gonna toss this kid a bone and go over there and say hi again. So I went over, said hi, and he kept like giving me these like eyes, and I could tell he wanted to kiss me, but he wouldn't do it. And this was after we like talked for probably like 5 or 10 minutes, and which is a long time in gay time.
Definitely, especially at a club. Oh my God, that's like a year in lesbian years.
That is. And so he wouldn't do it. So I finally just did it. I kissed him, and then after kissing him, I said, all right, bye. I got to go with my friends. and I left.
It's the way to do it, too. We Latinos know how to play hard to get. We know how to do our bruja voodoo and, get that attention. Did he tell you later that he was just looking for an outlet for his charger? Just kidding. All right. But let's talk about the reality of your relationship. Moving past that, we know you actually do business together. Leo, you handle a lot of Kameron's business side of it. But both of you are also in the public eye a lot. Not only has the media deemed you, the power couple of Dallas, it's literally printed on a magazine, but social media, at the concerts, people expect for you to be together. We see the photo shoots that you've done. I want to know how hard it is to cultivate a healthy relationship, always under that kind of scrutiny, always having to worry about people looking or taking a picture, or, if you guys have a bad day, every couple will have their bad days. So how do you cultivate that relationship in the midst of all of that?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, so we both have our own like professional lives outside of what we love to do. as our hobby, me singing and Leo doing his baking. And so, you know, there's days where we have stressful days at work. And, you know, much like you said earlier, it's like, you know, people expect you to come off a reality TV show and everything just happens. And that's not the reality of it. You know, I still have to pay my bills. I still have things that are due. So we have all these stresses of the world sometimes. So much like you said, the days don't always go too great. And, you know, sometimes we might be having an off day, but it's realizing, especially if like I'm at a gig or if he's trying to bake or if we are, you know, going out, things like that, that, you know, that we're self-aware of what we are doing and then how people can perceive it at the same time, because we could just be goofing off and somebody might perceive it a little bit differently. But, you know, it's a really good balance that we have to have with each other, you know, to make sure that, you know, being in a public eye, things don't come off the wrong way, and that, you know, but we still can have fun. And we are so lucky to have such a good set of friends here in Dallas that, you know, we can still have fun. And, you know, we might have been on a few shows here and there and done a few things, but they see us as Kameron and Leo, and definitely appreciate the time that we spend together. So it can sometimes clash when it's like I have a creative idea and Leo's like, well, maybe we won't do that.
That's the toughest,
maybe you
is
should
to
do
get
this instead. And I want to do this.
yeah. I mean,
An example of something that you would want to do that I would be like, no, we're not going to do that.
oh, he actually froze.
Yeah.
Is that your Bruja magic, Leo? You made him freeze? No.
That is, no.
I was showing off my Dolly shirt.
Yes.
That was it.
Yeah. But how do you know whose career to focus on? Like, let's say you both had opportunities. How do you kind of have that discussion? Because both of you are in entertainment, but the kind of entertainment couldn't be more opposite if you tried, you know? So how do you kind of focus your priorities? How do you know what move to make next, when to travel for this person's event, or when to stay home and work on this baking, you know, project? How do you kind of prioritize whose career to kind of focus on?
I think we've kind of easily been able to find a balance for all of that. We help each other as much as we can. Like I said earlier, you know, I joked that, you know, I look up sometimes and all of my dishes are done or whatever, but there's just this sense of taking care of each other that we've had from the very beginning, before we got close enough to even be looking out for each other's careers. And we've kind of always had that. Kameron drives this like giant lifted truck. And I remember like the first time I got in his truck, him coming over and opening the door and me thinking that was like the most insane, like sweetest thing.
That is
like,
very
ever.
sweet.
It is. And that has kind of just grown from there. There's always like, we're always kind of just looking out for what we can do for the other one. And if there's a day where, you know, he's overwhelmed with his work and there's something I can do for him, then I do it. And if I have something I need to do while he's overwhelmed, then we kind of know that we're big boys and we can do it on our own. And we don't have to be right there for each other. We can make each other's lives easier, but we don't need each other for that. And I think that's what makes our relationship work, is that we kind of are good in that way. Because I don't think it's healthy to need your partner in order for you to make it work. And that's something that I learned kind of in my past. And so yeah, it helps us balance things out really, really well to both realize that, you know, can I do this on my own? Yes. Does it make it easier having my partner that fully supports me and that's going to do everything that they can to make it easier for me if they can? It's amazing. So yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy for you guys. Hashtag single forever. Even on one of the posters for this radio show, you guys are like hugging each other and kissing each other, and I'm in the corner like, hi. No, in all seriousness, I'm very happy. But we got a sassy question from one of your fans, so I'm just going to ask it because I'm kind of interested too. Social media audience you have are fans of your work, but they're also fans looking for thirst traps, and you throw out a good thirst trap every now and then. Like every other post. We're not complaining. You both spend a lot of time on your body and image. It is part of your brand. It's part of the job. You go to the gym a lot. What happens if one of you decides that you want to skip the gym for a few months or you eat too many cakes? What's going to happen? This is from one of your fans. That's all I got to say.
We don't have to go with if that happened. We got thrown.
Oh, yeah, you're huge. Mm-hmm.
We were dating for months before the pandemic happened, and we were not able to go to the gym, and we kind of get into a groove of like eating really unhealthy,
Eating
like
cinnamon rolls.
And we were having cinnamon rolls with our roommate Cody, or with my roommate Cody. Kameron had come to stay with us at the time. He wasn't even like actually living with me. We just kind of like decided to make this a home base and stay here at my place. But I feel like, I don't know, there's I don't have a problem, like there's, Kameron, what are your thoughts?
I am the first one to be like, we need to go to the gym. I need to do more cardio because I've eaten canes one too many times this week. So it definitely, I will probably be the one who's going to crack the whip on us getting to the gym. And then Lio, when he's making cakes, he is always like there's always scraps. There's always like leftovers because he trims off the top of the cake, makes it all pretty. And I'm sitting here like,
Pretty.
What are you doing with that? Because I really want to eat it. And I probably shouldn't, which means I'm going to have to do more cardio tomorrow. So it definitely, I will be the first one to push us to the gym. Leo will be the first one to be like, let's just, let's just eat a little bad and stay home on the couch. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, young people and their metabolisms. It's so wonderful. Lio, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to talk to Cam a little bit on his own. Tell everybody where you want them to find you and follow you.
At Lio B. Liobee. You can find me, or Krafty Kween, Krafty.Kween, both with K's. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. And come see Lio in Palm Springs on Friday, October 15th for happy hour and decorating at Boucher, which is an amazing, amazing little speakeasy in Palm Springs. Head to boucher.com for tickets, and I'll be there hosting with GED Magazine. Boucher is BOUSCHET.com. And like I said, come travel for the weekend. Cameron's performing that Thursday, and this is on Friday. Make a weekend out of it. We are going to be roaming around Palm Springs, unchaperoned. God only knows what we're in store for.
We'll be terrorizing Palm Springs. It'll be style, so it'll be okay.
That's exactly right. Lio, thank you so much. All right, that has been Lio Botello. Okay, Kameron, we're going to keep you around and talk a little bit. Tell me about these remixes. Where did the idea of remixing country music kind of come from? What was that kind of inspiration?
Yeah, so I went into the studio recording If I Could Go Back and Real. And I had this just wild thought, like, what if we take a genre of music that I just love and try to mix it in together? I mean, I've never explored music in that sense before. And so with I Could Go Back, we kind of mixed in elements of country that we had with I Could Go Back that we recorded. And then I had this thought of just like EDM music. We go to music festivals and just like the vibe there is just so amazing and everybody is loving everything. And then just the pop feel of everything. And I wanted to mix it all together. And so it was just, ideas taking like beats that drop during a song, like an EDM song or a pop song, and trying to intertwine that with country to explore that area of music. And I can honestly say that, when we were in the studio and recording this, we're going through the different ideas and thoughts of what we can do with the song and how we can remix it. it's probably one of my favorite songs that I put out to this date. It's just the vibe is great, the feeling behind it's amazing, and the message of the song is great as well. So it just all worked together extremely well.
We are actually going to listen to a little peek, just a little snippet, because I want everybody to download it and stream it. But this is the remix of If I Could Go Back. And that was the remix of If I Could Go Back. Kameron, would you say that your music is crossing over to non-country music audiences?
You know, I would honestly say, like, now that I've like think about like, you know, my love for music and putting, you know, different genres to it, I don't then know if I would fit just specifically country at this point, you know. I my heritage is Latino and I'm Hispanic. And so lately, like I've been coming up with this thought about putting out a Latin song and, you know, I mixing it with country. And I think that's like the great part about music is that you can just explore so many outlets and different genres all at the same time. And so I don't know, you know, country, I don't think, you know, I love country and that's where my heart is, but I don't see any problem with exploring into other genres and mixing them all together to make something that's like really good.
Well, you know, I have to say, I think country music, that genre, has evolved. Not evolved, because that's the wrong connotation. It has transformed and kind of saturated other songs or other genres the fastest of any other of its genre in the last 10 years. When I was a kid growing up, country was very much Gretchen Wilson. It really was about that twang, and it was about that beat, and it was that environment, which was great. That was purely country. But I have seen such a radical change of what's considered country, the voices that actually sing country, and where country will pop up. It's not just at the Country Music Awards anymore. You know, we have artists that are doing all the award shows, and we're hearing these songs on all the radio stations, not just country music. But when I listen to your music, you capture a lot of that classic country in terms of the timbre of your voice and kind of like the scoop of your voice, which is very reminiscent of classic country, which is so comforting because it's like no matter how far the music goes, even as far as a remix, it still pays an homage to that kind of culture that you were raised in and that you come from. This is your whole Texan culture, and I think you've captured that beautifully. Is really melding modern and classic country.
Yeah, I grew up listening to old school country, Keith Whitley, Hank Williams, Merle Haggard, all that good stuff. And so it's like it is a deep rooted part of me with like my country music roots. And then we're just tweaking it a little bit to make it a little bit more myself and really exploring other genres to expand in those areas as well. And so I love my country roots. I love Keith Whitley, and Lord knows I know I won't be able to get rid of this twang while I'm singing. So, you know, we embrace it and we have fun with it, and we explore as much as we possibly can with the music side of things. And, you know, we're coming up with good stuff. Sometimes it might always be the best stuff. But, you know, we go back to the drawing board and we put out more music and we want to really put out something that we can have people relate to.
Right. Now, Kameron, I know that early in your career, when you came out, when your sexuality became an issue, the bookings kind of stopped. Now with America's Got Talent, now that we're edging out of COVID, I see you now performing all over the place, which is so great to hear that part of your journey. Like, that's what the rest of the journey is. Are you getting booked just for LGBTQ events? Are you doing mainstream stuff? How's the country music industry in your hometown or home area of Texas? How is that responding to you in today's day and age?
When it comes down to bookings, I was on the show during COVID, and it was a really like strange time to be on a TV show and then come off a TV show expecting your life to be busy, to be booked left and right, and you to be traveling the country or the world. And that wasn't the case for me. So to see things pick up, many months later, and it like not miss a beat has been very humbling and really, really great. And I definitely think that, the LGBTQ family has been like amazing. And, I love supporting different organizations and things like that. But I've also been booked at, things that, just a regular bar or that isn't like LGBTQ like driven. And, at the end of the day, I just want to get out there and sing music, and I want people to relate to it and love what they're hearing and disconnect from their life for just a second, and so that's what I'm there for, is for people to hear something good to their ears and help them, disconnect from the world for just a split moment of their life. And so it's been great with, the support I've gotten from different bookings and things like that. And I definitely think that we've evolved as a community and as a whole when it comes down to, not being judged as much for being a gay male country singer, but more so, I can bring a good show and some good vocals to some things. And so it's definitely been great coming off the show recently with getting more bookings.
What do you think the biggest challenges for any independent music artist are now post-COVID?
Post-COVID, we see it often now with just any artist right now. It's just, there's so many different regulations, mask, no mask, our festival's going to happen, if you get sick, are you going to be able to go to that show? If you're feeling a little bit ill, if you test positive, can you play that show? Because then you're jeopardizing so many other people and your own band and things like that. So I definitely feel like people and artists are straying on a little bit of the light side, but also trying to still live their life and have fun when it comes down to music. We're adapting and evolving, with our situation with COVID currently. And I am hoping that things just continue to go down a good path. And it just, right now we're in a weird time with the way COVID is. And so artists right now, I definitely feel like there's different challenges along the way with where we are. And definitely making sure that, we can play as much as we can, and have as much support as we possibly can with people coming out to shows and making sure that, you show their love and all that good stuff. So it's definitely a challenge with our situation with COVID right now, but we're trying our best to make do with what we have and make sure that we still can continue going forward.
Well, that definitely is, it's a double-edged sword to perform or not perform. The fact is, we were talking about classic country music and that whole music industry. You could release an album and you made money off of the album, and that was great. Artists don't make money off of music anymore. The only money that's made is merchandise or live performances and performing out of town. That's the only way for musicians to make music. So during COVID, post-COVID, it's not like it's a perfect environment by any means at all.
No, and much like you said, streaming artists make money when it comes down to, if you're streamed like thousands and millions of times, you might see that. But for an independent artist, it's people buying the music, coming up and showing up to shows and things like that. And an artist getting booked, it's super important because, you know, that's how that income comes in there and how we make our livelihood as an artist. And so definitely getting out there and supporting with as much, you know, being there physically if you can, and, you know, being safe at the same time. But it's definitely, you know, it's the world, it's changing a little bit. So merchandise, music, when it comes down to purchasing that, streaming is, you know, I look at it sometimes as an independent artist, and I'm like, I have to get thousands and hundreds of thousands of streams to try to make a dollar.
Yeah.
And so that can be tough at times. So it's really good to be able to get out there and be booked at different shows and do what I love to do and help spread the love and hope that people can disconnect from life for a little bit and enjoy themselves.
Well, you didn't think I was going to let you go without a little hot topic, did you? I'm giving you your own.
Sir.
I'm giving you your own hot topic. Tony, take it away. It's time for Hot Topics on the Rocks with Alexander. Better pour yourself another.
This is hot. That's hot. That's hot. This is really hot. That's hot. That's hot.
So hot, you guys. All right, here's today's hot topic. Lil Nas X has certainly caused a sensation, bringing his over-the-top imagery, opinions, and sexuality to the music scene. Is he promoting our image or damaging it? Is he destroying the bridges of understanding that our community is trying to build with mainstream society? Kameron, as a fellow musician, as a gay man putting on a show out there, what is your take on Lil Nas X?
You know, I can appreciate somebody who is really trying to push the boundaries out there for people who are upcoming. You know, if there's somebody that has the platform that can go out there and really just push those boundaries, that will make it for everybody trying to, you know, be themselves and following that path at the same time, I greatly appreciate it. And it's absolutely amazing to see. Do I think sometimes it's a little bit much? Yes. I feel like sometimes with, you know, maybe Lil Nas X, you know, it's more of like getting that attention and things like that, but not always. It's you know, I think it all comes down to a bigger picture of people understanding and accepting him as him for who he is as a person, and allowing him to open up the doors for somebody like myself in the music industry to be who I want to be, and not judge that. So I definitely applaud him for everything he's doing with the community. Sometimes I might not make the same choices, and I might not be brave enough to make the same choices, but I definitely appreciate, you know, him trying to push those boundaries a little bit with how people perceive things. And you know, to each their own. And like I said, I might not make the same decisions if it was me for all of the kind of attention he's gotten, but you know, I can appreciate probably the heart behind it, of where it's coming from.
You know, it's been a tough issue for me because I always believe having one-on-one conversations and relationships with people on the other side or across the bridge, that works better than, you know, kind of trying to hit somebody over the head with something. But then when you really look at it, it's like, you know, we kind of have been kind of shoved in the back or, you know, marginalized or whatnot. And then I look back and I think of when Madonna hit the scene and people were, you know, fainting dead because she had a cone bra on stage. She was doing religious imagery, and look what she's done for the music, for pop culture, even for the gay community. I don't look back and think, oh my God, that was way too much. I think, yeah, that was cool, Madonna. And I don't have that reaction with Lil Nas X because maybe I'm still a little, not embarrassed of being gay, but still being confident in that kind of sexuality is still not where I'm at. And so it makes me uncomfortable. And I guess that's kind of the whole point of Lil Nas X. But like really, if you compare it to what Madonna did, there's really kind of no difference, just the sexuality.
Yeah. And I would agree. Like sometimes I look at some of the stuff that might be posted or something that he might have did, and I'm like, you know, that might not be who I am as a gay man, and it's kind of trying to push those boundaries to be like, why is it such a big deal that Lil Nas X is doing this? But if it was a female doing this, it's, you know, it's okay, you know, or if it's a straight male doing this, it's just fine, you know, much like, you know, if it was a man in a music video and the woman is naked, it's totally okay.
That's exactly
you know, why
right.
isn't it okay that it's two gay males, you know? So I completely appreciate the thought behind it and really trying to pave that path. I might have a little bit of struggle trying to do that myself. I'm just maybe a tad bit more conservative on that side, but I can definitely appreciate what he's trying to do and see the vision behind it.
Well, and you do make a really good point. I mean, we're talking about when music videos first hit the scene, like the MTV era, there was, you know, indication of like topless girls or half naked girls. We even had, you know, some of the male rappers have been grabbing their junk on stage, you know, forever. And that's just like, that's okay. And what's allowed, even on Instagram, what gets blocked and what doesn't get blocked, it seems very biased towards, you know, a certain sexuality or a certain gender. So that is a really good point.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even question it from
I mean,
any other.
I mean, if it was J-Lo in the music video shaking her butt, what's the
Miley
difference
Cyrus?
with a guy with, or a guy with an equally nice butt that is shaking that, you know, or like really, you know, making it look very good on a music video. What does it matter? It shouldn't matter, you know, male or female. It looks just as good on J-Lo as it does, you know, my partner Leo.
Oh, cakes for days. All right. I don't care where you are in the U.S. You need to come to Palm Springs on October 14th at 7 p.m. Kameron and I will be taking the stage at Oscars Palm Springs. Go to oscarspalmsprings.com. Kameron is gonna perform some of his own music and some hits that you love, and we're also going to have a chat. We're also going to take a look at some clips as well. So it's really going to be a fun, intimate night. So I can't wait for that. Kameron, tell everybody where you want them to find and follow you.
I'm on all social media platforms at Kameron Ross with a K. Sometimes it's Kameron Ross Official, but you can find me anywhere. Instagram, TikTok. I'm not very good with TikTok, I will admit that. But any other social media platform, I try to stay pretty much engaged as well as I possibly can.
That's great. And we're going to look for your article in the upcoming issue of Metrosource Magazine, available nationally at the start of October. And as well, Leo's going to be our cover boy for GED Magazine for October. So you guys are heating up the nation. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you both in a couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely. I cannot wait. It'll be a great time.
All right, everybody. That's been our show. That's all, folks. Every week, you never know who's going to show up. It's always a grab bag of fun. Big thank you to our fabulous guest, my engineer, Tony Sweet, our social media clip editor, Alexis Mendez, our researcher, Mama Rose. And coming up, we have Warren Egypt Franklin from Grownish, who is also one of the leads in the touring production of Hamilton. He's actually going to be on the show right after one of his performances. Great. We also have Barry Livingston, child actor from My Three Sons, is going to be on. We also have TikTok star Corey O'Brien. And so we have a lot of coming up. We also have a Halloween show. It's going to scare you, not just because of my outfit. Please like, share, subscribe so we can continue to bring this fabulous programming your way for free. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and above all, stay tipsy. We'll see you next week.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so... Oh, he did. Okay. Ooh.